Hello, IDS here, with another ranking video. I will put out the long-form video of me talking about an interesting Bionicle topic that isn't ranking at some point. I just can't be bothered right now. And the Olympics and Pals animation is very close to being done, so there are other things bubbling around, so this won't be the only thing I put out, for now. But, let's hit it. Let's stop faffing around. I love to faff around and talk for hours and hours on these. The Glatorian Legends. What can I say about the Glatorian Legends? I am not a big fan of 2009. Not for the sets, but for the story. 2009 is really sort of a soft reboot, and I don't really think it was very fleshed out in terms of even concept. Now, I understand it was half-baked. They didn't get to do everything they needed to do. It was planned to be a multi-story arc, yada yada yada. I don't even think the premise itself was really thought out. And I'm not really a big fan of the change of direction. I'm such a massive advocate for the end of 2008 being such a fantastic story idea. The fact that 2008 established the Tower of Adaptive Armor, so they had free reign to keep releasing the Tower Nuva in different forms again and again and again. It just, everything 2008 set up was completely quashed, and by this year, the movie this year also sucked. Like, I'm such a massive fan of the Miramax movies, and The Legend Reborn is just lame as hell, which is a shame because if they got like bigger actors, I don't know if budgetary it was more. It felt like there was a lot of buzz around it, and it ended up being a very sort of kiddie movie, which again, these are movies based on kids' toys, but that was what was amazing about the Miramax movies. They actually took them seriously. Like, of course, there's childish stuff in them. They are children's movies at the end of the day, but considering those movies came out in the early 2000s, based on a toy line, those could have been really bad. So, is what it is. So, regardless, this ranking isn't about 2009. Maybe in another video, I'll talk about my problems with 2009 and how it's basically the original G2. But that being said, what about the sets? So, at this point, we've had the Inika and Paraka build essentially established as the Bionicle building system since 2006. By the time we get to the Glatorian Legends, we are on the 9th wave of Paraka and Inika. I'm just going to call them Inika builds, but that includes the Paraka build as well, right? This is the 9th wave of these guys. So there is a lot of fatigue when it comes to these builds, right? It's not like, even in 2007, I was annoyed that we were just returning to the well with it. But we're way past 2007 at this point. Like, 9 waves cannot be understated how many sets that is. That is a lot to be just doing the same thing again and again. So, the original wave of Glatorian, actually, I'll give them credit. They did stuff to innovate. We got to see some, basically, variation in the build. Skrull and Strack involved using Technic pieces to give some unique shaping, and something that we hadn't seen with the Inika build. Gresh did something a little bit different than just having a standard Jala and Inika body armor on the Inika build. Like, they did things a little bit differently. I think they recognized that, okay, if we're going to just keep doing this, we have to actually make some changes, which was good to see. And not only that, but I think after years and years of dark grey and silver and this, that, and the other, we finally got the colors back. Marder Blue made a return after only really being splashed in here and there. I think Gadonka had some. Like, it was basically out of commission in the main sets beyond pins, and it was back. Marder Red, we were kind of getting teasers of it. I think Marder Red never officially left for a year. So, Turaga Duma had Marder Red in 2004. In 2005, technically, Kitongu had his Rotuka spinner and a few Technic pieces in that color. Big stretch there, but like there was a dash of Marder Red in his color scheme. Hakan had it in 2006. Maxilos in 2007. Onua and the Mystica Makuta having it in 2008. Not Dahu. But here, it's back in full swing. Not in the original Glatorian wave, of course, but, it returned as a main color this year. And many of the other modded colors came back. Vorox brought back tan, which hadn't been really seen since 2002 Beyond Pins, which was fantastic. And, you know, splashes of brown in there. There aren't any sole brown parts on him, but the fact that they even, you know, included that, it was great. And weirdly, modded green didn't come back, which is weird. And it never came back for G2. It never really appeared in Hero Factory. Nex had some as like highlights for, but essentially the only CCBS green piece we got was the 2.0 head, which was then made redundant when they went back to the Glatorian head again. So weirdly, Mala Green didn't come back, but regardless, there was an injection of color back into these sets that was sorely missed from essentially probably 2006, 2007. Like, I think we downplay how colorful those years actually were, but, you know, getting some of these classic colors back kind of invigorated how those sets felt. So yeah, the first wave of Glatorian, while they are still very much swimming in this system, and just as a personal irk, well, it's not personal, I mean, I understand set limitations and story limitations, but the fact that these are all a different planet, different species, the fact that Jala and Nika looks more like Akar, for example, than Tahu looks like Jala and Nika, despite two of them being the same species, one of them being an alien, makes no damn sense. This is the problem with doing a reboot to a different fucking world of creatures. It's like, you can keep reusing builds within the auspices of the Madanui robot because they're all biomechanical beings. You can't then just sell me organic beings with the exact same parts and tell me, yep, that makes sense. Pisses me off. But again, limitations. Lego, there's story and there's sets. What are you gonna do? Going on a tangent there, but yeah. So the original wave of Glatorian, you know, felt a little bit like okay, we are still getting the same builds, but you know, we're making some attempts to innovate in terms of color, innovate in terms of some spins on the Nika build. And I was like, okay, maybe we're moving in the right direction. If we are going to stay with this, at least let's see what we can do different. And the Glatorian Legends came around, and they kind of basically threw all of that out of the window. There's near to no innovation in these guys. A lot of the kooky, weird stuff that was going on in the first Glatorian wave is essentially absent here. And we have some really incredibly run-of-the-mill Nika build sets here. Now, every day I should count my blessings that the Paraka torso did not make an appearance this year. I think the prototype scroll had it. Now, mind you, it was still not used in the way that I hate, but like these guys on the whole do very little to innovate on the system. And honestly, considering this was the last canister wave of G1, they are very forgettable. The wave 1 was far better. So I don't really necessarily think too highly of these sets. I don't really hold them to high esteem. A lot of these characters as well are, well, half of them are basically pointless. You don't really need to even think about them as characters. So there's not really that much pull in terms of like, oh, he's so integral. And even the characters that are integral here, like Kina, are just annoying characters that I don't care about. So yeah, those are my rough thoughts. Again, I should probably do a bit of a deeper dive into my things with 2009 instead of just doing it here, because otherwise I'm going to talk for ages instead of just getting on with ranking these. And you know what, I may have less to say about these than some of the other waves, which I feel more passionately about the characters, or I feel more passionately about the sets, or the sets are just more interesting. But you know what, there's always stuff to talk about. So let's get into it. Who is the worst of this list, in my opinion? Well, that, again, for me, there's not really much argument, is Vastus. I don't really like Vastus. That's why he's in last place. Vastus is, I always feel like he's the Tarix of this wave. Which is funny, because I think in the movie, him and Tarix are like, the only scene they're like in it together. But, yeah, there's just something about this set. There's a lot of things about this set that are just so boring or ugly to me. I guess we'll go over the positives. We get Kongu feet in solid dark green, so we don't have the silver in that. It's always good to get a variant of that. the head of his staff being dark green molded with silver feels like a nice complement to Matau Hordika's weapons. They almost feel like they'd be in the same library of parts. I think if you're mocking a character that has multiple blades, they would pair quite nicely. This sickle next to those blades, they have the same sort of design language. He has some of those new Vizirac length bones with the connections on the side. And the Mari hose with that new injection technique where it's clear but there's dark green inside of it. That's kind of cool. And that's probably about all I can say that I like about this set. This is one of the worst in Ica builds, sort of trying to innovate, I guess, with something new with it that I think we had. First of all, what they did, so they've done this backwards in Ica body. They did it on 2 other sets. Actually 3, I'm pretty sure Goras had this as well. It's never particularly good. So they were thinking, okay, how do we mix this up here? They just put an Anika thigh on his stomach. What? That doesn't look particularly good. What is it trying to be? Like, so he has a bulge around his diaphragm above his abs. Like, were they trying to do ab detail with the pistons here? I don't know. It's kind of like he has a diaphragm or stomach hernia. Why does he have a bulge in the middle of it? It's not even like round. Like, make him have like a pot belly or something. What is this? Looks stupid. And unlike a set like Poatu Mystica, where he had Inika armor on the back to kind of carry on the shaping here, he has nothing, so he looks really hollow back here. There's nothing to carry on the shape here. Not a fan of this tapering out. No, don't like it at all. The legs, I'm very happy they were starting to incorporate the Hordika legs again. It's weird considering, we're in the part reuse era. There are these legs that they barely go to the well with. Vastus and Chirox, from memory, are the only sets that actually use the Hordika legs again, even though they are in the catalog of like Rakshi length limbs. However, they're not that nice looking pieces. And they make Vastus look weird. He has like scrawny legs, and he's not particularly buff build, but the legs aren't that appealing. I think there is a reason why they didn't really use that piece that much. His staff, again, the top of the weapon is pretty great. The rest of it as a build is pretty meh. Not a big fan. Just the launcher at the end of it, it's just a bit awkward. It's funny because I think in his box art image, his hand is backwards when holding it. Not a big fan of the helmet particularly. It just is whatever. And I take exception to these snakes. This snake armor, don't like it. Now, we're on a. For me, they don't feel like Bionicle. We're on a planet, blah blah blah. It's not biomechanical. It's this. They're all organic. Still, they're still using the Anika build and the Bionicle aesthetic. The fact that these are just human earth snakes on his shoulders just looks so out of place to me. It looks weird. There's no attempt to make them look biomechanical. There's no pistons. There's no detailing. They are just straight up smooth, organic, wiggly pieces, and it looks really out of place. And okay, we're in the piece reuse era, right? You're really dedicating budget to designing those things? Create a new body armor or something usable. Now, obviously this was the last canister wave, so there was probably not much. Retroactively, it's not like they were going to get a lot of mileage out of whatever piece they designed. This would have been, the end game for that piece. But in theory, they want to design armor parts that are reusable on future builds. Why have you done such a disgusting, hyper-specific one? That doesn't even feel like Bionicle. What other set could use this? Think about... it's so specific to Vastus, it's basically useless. And again, I'm going to harp on it. The organic snakes do not speak to me. They do not feel like Bionicles. They don't match the aesthetic of literally any other piece. At least his head has, the tentacles and stuff are, nondescript, and you've got a bit of the Prydac dagger thing going on, which are on here as well, but I just can't get past the snakes. And what a waste of piece budget to create something like that. So, yeah, Vastus is just pretty shit in my opinion. It's just such a boring build. What they tried to do differently doesn't work and just looks odd. Again, why is he got like a bolt? Not even at his stomach. He has a diaphragm hernia for some reason. The back is really hollow. It's not particularly appealing. The color layering, it's like he's got his sleeves rolled up because it's just his lower arms are lime green. Yeah, that just... Actually, no, am I tripping? I just realized his even the front of his face is a snake as well. And again, an organic snake that doesn't match the aesthetic of it. It's just weird. That may have been better suited for something like Knight's Kingdom, where, you know, it takes place on Earth, where, you know, these creatures would exist. It would be like if, I don't know, we had a character that had Mwaka armor, but instead of it looking like a Mwaka, it just straight up had like tiger fur on it, and it just had like an earth tiger on it. It would just be weird and out of place. So yeah, not a fan of this set. Don't like it. Doesn't look pretty. I don't think it looks pretty good in any particular poses. It's just, not for me. And again, the character, what impact did that character have on the story? I don't particularly remember. He was just a movie for a bit. Don't care. So Vastus is in last place. Okay, who follows Vastus? That would be Gelu, or as Biosector says, his name is Gelu. That's weird. It just sounds awkward. I'm going to say Gelu. Gelu is Gelu. What are the positives? I quite like his helmet. It's pretty cool. Matches the aesthetic of the Metis shield. Pretty neat. He has some of the most underrated weapons in all of Bionicle, I guess. I think because it was so late in the game, we didn't really appreciate them that much. And because it's such a nothing character, didn't necessarily get the shine that they did. But these are really, really cool blades. I really like the way they are sort of designed out. At least it looks like there's like an ice projection from the Pridak dagger, shaping-wise. At least it looks like that. In fact, these might even work as a nice complement in design to Nudu Hordika. I don't know. So, cool blades. Cool helmet. Nice to get another recolor of the Anika torso armor in white. And yeah, that's about it. This set is really fucking boring. It is the most boring ass set ever. Okay, cool. It's the most basic ass Anika build ever, with nothing. The biggest innovation or anything that sets him apart from literally the most default Anika build ever are these on his arms. And I don't even think that's that great of an inclusion. You've stuck shield halves on the back of his arms. Okay. Like, great. Okay, this is just a really boring set. There is nothing to write home about. And again, because he's also basically story irrelevant. Who cares? Who cares about this guy? Like, genuinely, you could do a Far From Home Spider-Man No Way Home spell and make everyone forget about Gelu, and it would not impact anything. He's okay, and like as a figure overall, he's completely functional. He's just really basic, and mind you, this is the 9th wave of a Anika build, and we're getting a set like this. It's pretty sort of okay. Well, what else are you gonna do for me? That's it. Okay, yeah. I don't even have anything else to say. This is just peak laziness to me in a build. It's the most boring ass build. A boring ass character. I really don't have anything else to say. I'm kind of grasping at straws. Might have been cool to get some dark blue hands on him or something. Like the color layering on his arms also have like the Vastus thing where it almost looks like his sleeves are rolled up, I guess, color wise. Looks better here than in Vastus. The color layering here looks nicer than on Vastus as well. Yeah, I literally got nothing else to say. This guy is he's completely functional and I guess cool on a surface level, but in the context of this is the 9th wave of Anika and Paraka builds, it feels like you didn't put any more effort than this. This is just nothing. This is just nothing. It sounds really harsh, but like I can't think of anything more just perfectly mid than this set. Like, it's not even bad. It's just, and it's perfectly functional. Again, this is your first Bionicle set. Happy days. You're probably going to like it. He's perfectly cool in a vacuum, but yeah, we're too deep in the game to be getting such a boring, non-innovative set like this. Compare him to Strack. Strack is awesome. I love Strack. Strack also doesn't deviate too far from an Anika build. Strack also was using, Metru limbs and Anika feet. And Strack feels so fresh compared to this guy. Just in terms of visually, just in terms of his armor, just his weapon, like everything about Strack that sets him apart, while still basically using an Anika build, this guy has no push in that direction. It's just so by the books. Again, the greatest innovation is you stock 2 shield halves behind his arms. Okay, cool. Alright, I mean, there's not really much to say. I should probably stop dwelling on it. But yeah, easily 5th place. Okay, the next 3... well, the next few, I guess. I say 3 because they're in a little bunch here. I have some trouble placing. So I'm gonna just sort of walk through my thoughts on the following sets, and then we'll sort of try and come to a conclusion, because the next 3 places in my head, I'm not sure where I place them, and it's not like some of the other waves that I've ranked where I'm like, oh, this one is so cool that I don't want to place it over this guy, and this guy's so cool, and on one given day I like this better, but I feel bad because I actually really love this. This is like the opposite. This is like I don't like this about it. But is that worse than this? But I don't care about this guy as much. But okay. So that it's all these guys are competing for 2, 3, and 4. Because in my head I know which one is my favorite. So let me just walk you through my individual thoughts. So first of this batch, I guess we're gonna discuss Akar. Now Akar is, I would say, a fan favorite. I think a lot of people like this set. Akar feels like such a breath of fresh air to get orange and Mata red after not getting this combo since 2002, I think, was the last set that had these colors in combination. The obvious kind of callback to Tahu is front and center. Like, especially when we had such a weird, disappointing Tahu Mystica, and then we get this set the following year, it's like, where was this? Where was this last year? You've got the red, the orange, the upright, heroic posture. He's standing strong. He doesn't have the Parakatorso with the slouch. He's standing up. His traps are angling up like a strong, upright hero should be. He's got the flame sword. So I think seeing Akar, it was very much if you could do this, why couldn't you do this for Tahu? Which is completely valid. But Akar has his own innovation. He's the first canister set ever to not even have a new mask. Like, he reuses Berix's helmet. To this point, I don't think there was a canister set ever that didn't have a new head or mask mold. And this ushered in trends that we saw in Hero Factory and G2, where we just reuse masks. And it's not even like in a cool sort of way, like in 2001, where we have the library of masks and the matoran, like, all swap them out, and multiple characters use different masks, because I love that too. But more so, just it feels like a lazy reuse. And in the Mana Nui robot, it makes sense that the masks are, people can wear the same mask because they are preformed shapes that have powers associated with them. It doesn't require some mental gymnastics to be like, why do 2 people wear a Howl? Because the Howl is just a mask in that universe, right? 2 Glatorian having the same mask seems like a stretch, or too gory, because these guys are like living in a wasteland, and their armor and stuff, they're all like hobbled together and made of scrap. It's just weird that these 2 masks exist together. It's the same when you look at the movie and you see that they couldn't even be bothered to kind of mix the helmets around for the crowd shots of the Agori. You can say similar things. It's like how they mass manufacture these masks to be identical clone. Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? These are helmets, right? Why has everyone got the same thing? You don't have factories. Surely all of these should be unique. So there's a story disconnect there. And also, in my opinion, this was my least favorite Agori mask. This genuinely feels like, oh, what does water look like? Let's draw some squiggles at the back. So, yeah, getting it recolored in a fire variant wasn't cool to me at all. It's just... And again, it set a horrible precedent. Like, no, canister sets, at default, no matter how cloney they are, have a new mask and a new weapon. Their weapon rule was broken a few times. Kongu didn't have a new weapon. Mind you, new unique weapon. Kongu didn't have that as a Mari. But we got an extra Kordak Blaster. Vampra also didn't have a unique weapon. And then Vorox this year didn't have a unique weapon. So that was starting to slip. And every year there was at least one example of a canister set not getting a new weapon mold. But Akar was the one to break ground and no, we don't even get a new helmet. So that sucked. Also, some of the wind was sort of taken out of the sails of this set for having the recolored body, considering Pohatu had this last year in his Mystica form. Okay. The Flame Sword mold is great. Really cool sword. Nice to get elemental weapons again. That was another thing 2009 brought back in, is really like colored weapons. Using the Madanui shield, well, it's technically equally his, they came out at the same time. As a hilt is great as well. These pieces interact together really well. I really like the bell-bottom additions to the UNAMBIGUOUS legs. Those are cool. Really wish it connected with the full pin, just because these swing around quite a lot. But really like this piece. Shame we didn't get it more. Again, everything introduced with this line, unfortunately, it was the end of Bionicle, and Hero Factory really only used 1.0 villains to really use the Bionicle library still. We got recolored in Ica Feet in orange. Those were cool. I think everyone's always found it weird that he had grey hands. It is a bit weird, considering how consistent this color scheme is, but I don't actually mind it. I actually think what this set demonstrates, and what Tahu stars really demonstrate, is that but Tahu stars really demonstrate is that Marder Red and Orange are a bit much on their own. It's a little bit whoa, right? Tahu, Marder, Tarnok, and Vakama have a healthy balance of black in there that grounds the color scheme. And I think that's a little bit missed on Akar. And that's why I don't mind the gloves, the grey hands. It's not distributed enough to make a difference, so it really does feel unintentional. But there's a reason why a lot of the red sets had black as a grounding color. Jalamari, Lee Khan, Tahu. It balances it out, and it's interesting because if you look at the Stars prototypes, they were going to originally have molded Matoran limbs, so they could have multiple colors, and the prototype Tahu Stars had the molding in black, so the top, so the Matoran limbs would have that black molding, that which sort of called back to how the Mada looked. That would have been great, because both of these sets, I think, are hindered by not having that grounding color. I do think this color scheme isn't as cool when there isn't some sort of black accent to it to stop it just from all being kind of washed together. Okay, those are my thoughts on Akar. What really pisses me off about Akar is, again, comes down to the repetitiveness of this set. It really winds me up to a significant degree. Again, I keep going back to the well with this. This was the 9th wave of Inika and Paraka builds. And I want to do a little comparison. Hopefully this shows up on screen properly. To Harley Inika. Harley Inika came out 8 waves ago. 8 set waves ago. And I just really want to illustrate how much is not new on this set. So, we've got the same feet. Same feet. Same ankle. Same ankle. And mind you, some of these things are going to be the same on all Bionicle sets, right? We've got the same shin. The same shin. We've got the same bone. The same bone. The same thigh armor. The same thigh armor. The same hips. The same hips. The same armor. The same armor. The same torso. The same torso. New shoulders. Those are different. Same bone. Same bone. Same arms. Same arms. And then from the hands down and the heads, they're different. I mean, this is the same damn set. Like, getting Harley in 2006 was it like a complete new library of parts, and I'm not even asking for that from these sets, but like the fact they are still so similar at this point, to the point where the pieces are the same, like they're not even shuffling them that much anymore, really wound me up. Like the fact that you buy a set 8 waves later and you basically get 90% the same parts is ludicrous. It's crazy. You've basically just given him shoulder blades, which aren't new to him from Pridak, and you just swapped out the weapons and the face. And the face isn't even a new face; it's a reuse already from a cheap Matoran set. Like, no, to me at this point, 9 waves in, it felt really unacceptable, and that's why I think Akar is actually pretty Gelu-ish in terms of like laziness. It's just he gets carried by the color scheme, cool sword, and I guess movie relevance. Great, la-di-da. Like, it is what it is. That's my summation of it. He's a really boring, lazy set, and he's just kind of carried by Tahu iconography. I'll use this as an opportunity to speak on the hands. I'm not a big fan of the Glatorian hands. The Hero Factory hand, which reduced the wrist length, was a better piece, in my opinion. I think they refined it a little bit more. I think everyone was perfectly fine with the abstract bionicle hand, slicer hand. I actually think this hinders posing more, because these sets will always have a balled fist. By having these pieces more abstract, it means you can do more. It's Lego, use your imagination, right? You can have a Toa point at something. You can have a Toa hold a weapon at a weird angle if you need to achieve something. You can just do more with it. By having it implicitly a human-style hand, it really limits how it can hold stuff. It limits how you can pose it. You can't really evoke the same emotions as you can with an abstract hand just because you are technically locked into a pose that you can see. To speak on the Thornax launcher as well while we're here, why not? The Thornax launcher, I actually kind of like it. Like it's essentially using a Zamor-sized projectile again, and we see it after this wave that they love using this piece in Hero Factory, in Ninjago, in Chima. Like, it became the de facto Zamor launcher from this point on, and I don't mind it. Like, I prefer the Zamor launcher because it's more of a build, but this piece is far more usable because it's much simpler, takes up less room, and it's surprisingly effective. Like, I like it, and they made like an even shorter version for it for Hero Factory, which I like. The Thornax fruit, they're okay. I don't care. I actually prefer this piece with actual Zamor spheres in it. But yeah, like it's a better launcher than Ninra's Ghost Blaster, for example. And it really proved its versatility beyond 2009. But those apply to all the Glatorian Legend sets. So those are my thoughts on Akar. So yeah, it's, for me, it's very much a He really feels, the Gelu and Akar to me both feel like peak laziness, peak Inika fatigue, and if it wasn't for the colors, like his color scheme beats out Gelu's because Gelu's is not that striking, and it doesn't harken back to Tahu or like this color scheme that feels very Bionicle. So that's how he really kind of beats out Gelu in that department. But they're more alike in this sense than they aren't. Okay, I guess I'll move on to Kina. Kina is, I guess, the opposite of Akar. Kina actually has a custom torso, which is very surprising. You know what? She's definitely the most innovative of this wave. And I think she has very good choices throughout. Unlike Akar, she has new armor. Now, Akar had the shin guards, whatever. But this new armor piece is pretty cool. It has very nice aquatic themes. It carries on the little circle texture that was ushered in with some of the Inika parts and Baraka parts, so it feels like it fits in the library very well. It's got plenty of connection points. She has 4 of the new Visorak bones with the connection points on the side, which to this day feel kind of rare just because they came in with this last canister wave, and Bionicle kind of went, and then it was like, oh wow, this last second innovation that I feel like people were trying to work around for years, and it just feels kind of forgotten. She has 4 of them in light blue, which is cool. Reuse of the Rakshi limbs. I mean, it kind of works for this build. She's gangly, and it sort of feels intentional, like her build is like this weird gangly like fish person. The recolored light blue pieces on her are very cool. Getting the Inika feet in light blue were nice. Getting the Vaki leg in light blue was nice as well. Whenever you include a single piece, it's always like, oh damn, I want 2 of them. I want a pair. Her helmet is okay. Not one of my favorites. It has actually kind of a manta ray look to it, similar to some previous sets that I've talked about. Her dual trident is pretty neat as well. Not the biggest fan of this wiggly tube through it, but it's a cool piece, and there's sort of calls back to Nokama. So what's my issue? I don't necessarily have an issue with that. It's just how well is this torso executed. I actually quite like it. I think certain people, I've heard opinions that it isn't good. I think the fact that it makes her short and reduces the size of her body actually does lend to it making her feel a little bit more feminine. Again, as feminine as a weird gangly fish woman can be. But the problem I think is really color locked parts here. The Horika necks being grey are really jarring here, and they're really strongly on show. And then the red pins. I can be colorblind when it comes to these pieces to a degree. I won't lie, I have an easier time ignoring blue pins than I do red ones, red axles. Maybe it's because blue pins were introduced earlier. They were color locked in 2004, while red axles got color locked in 2008. But yeah, they're really jarring here, and I think because she's a blue build, those stand out a lot and really harm the look of this body. That and the grey. It really hurts this build, and I feel like we never really got this in too many colors. Anyway, like we got some in red on a Star Wars set, and then some in dark orange in an Overwatch set, and probably some others at this point. But in this time, they were still just producing them in grey, which is a shame because the Horika neck piece, which she does, the Glatorian neck, which she doesn't actually use, is essentially like a straight version of this piece, and that came in black and grey. So it was a real shame that this didn't get color match, and it's genuinely enough to really hurt the way the set looks. So yeah, that's actually the big thing, and it's major enough to really bother me with this build. Another thing is I don't care for the character, which I feel like harms my enjoyment of the set. It really shouldn't, but like it's Kina. I don't care. She's just loud and annoying. So yeah, it's just the set is perfectly okay, and props to her actually doing something different from the rest of them. It's just, and here's another thing as well. Forget the character. It's different and cool, but is it exciting? Like that, what does this inspire in me? Do I look at this body and I go, oh wow, that looks badass. That looks really cool. It might do for you, and I don't think you'd be wrong for saying that, considering it is so cool to see an innovation in a canister set at this point. It's just not that cool enough to excite me, I guess. It's just, oh wow, it's like oh wow, that's neat. It doesn't really get beyond that to me. So yeah, that's sort of my thoughts. If these pizzas were like a light blue or something, I feel like it would have really elevated the way this design looks. But the color locking really hurt this set. But yeah, so on paper, I think she's better than Akar in almost every way. However, if we go off general vibes, I guess, bar the lame reuse mask, which I don't like, Akar having a giant flame sword and being Tahu colored, it kind of puts him above Kina in terms of wow factor, which is what I mean by these next 3 entries. It's like there's instead of them fighting in my head over which one is better, I'm almost like which one is worse. Like I don't feel strongly about Kina, even though she does basically everything better than Akar, but it's like this set doesn't inspire anything in me. It doesn't really jump out to me as this set is great and needs to go above, because Akar, just, yeah, Akar has certain things which are completely superficial that make him feel cooler than Kina. So, yeah, I don't think I have much more to say about her. That's about it. This feels like, compared to my last list, like the most in my emotions, I guess, versus being that objective, but again, there's external factors such as just build fatigue at this point, the fact that it really felt like these were just an afterthought of the first wave, etc., etc. Okay, let me stop rambling. Next I want to cover Maranui. Maranui is sort of a crazy set to have even got. And it never felt like we would ever get this character, and honestly, I don't agree with what they did with this character. I think making him just a dude wandering around this desert and he's just a guy was really lame. I really think they could have done something more creative with his character. I really think he should have been like some sort of ethereal, like Prometheus type thing that doesn't understand how the ants work. For him to be so human, I think it's just a waste of giving this character purpose. There should have been some sort of real grand disconnect for this character. And honestly, I wouldn't have ever made him a character if it was up to me. I think he would have played into the ending, and maybe there's some sort of, as the story ends, he speaks to the Toa or whatever. I don't know. Again, probably a topic for another video, but I just don't like the fact they just made him a dude in the story, and especially the way they did it. He's just a relatable guy who shows up and solves everyone's problems. It's just so mundane for this basically godlike character. But whatever. The set has some cool stuff to it. I think in comparison to Akar, using the Anika build, he's doing something different in the sense that he's using that Onua build from last year, which I really like, except he does it worse. So he has the Akit Orange Onua chest, which I like. It's great to get that color and that piece in more colors. It's a shame that this is the third and final time we would get this piece. It was honestly underused, but just the way they've done it. Why is the Metru chest lower here? I guess for the purpose of variety, but like there's a reason why on Onua it's tucked, so it creates a full like cohesive covering. Like here he's just got a gap for no reason, and I don't think that looks very good. Purpose of it, fuck knows. I don't think it looks very good. I don't know why he's low riding it, or is he sagging his pants? Like, what is this? Another thing, I guess, with him as well, it felt like they were being stingy with him. Like, I think everyone knew when this set was coming, this should have been gold. And it was weird that they were being stingy, because in 2006 we got Brutaka, Raidak, Zaktan, Jala, all using gold. There was no issue there. Now, it wasn't the whole set was gold. Even this year, Berix and Tarix have gold. Toa Maranui was a Titan where they clear, and I think Toa Maranui also makes it feel like they didn't want to actually commit to doing any gold recolors, because they basically just sprinkled a bit of gold. It was just an excuse to put the gold Igniter in a set, but that's another story. That set is atrocious. And it's so funny because obviously later on LEGO got very gold happy, and G2 is marred with overly gold sets to the point where it's garish and disgusting. Well, Maranui never got gold. Feels weird, feels cheap. It really felt like a cop-out that year in my head, especially considering this should be an important set. I think they could pour a little bit more into the budget color-wise for this. But whatever, Kit Orange is a cool color, and it was nice to get a lot of these Anika parts in Kit Orange. His proportions suck. They really do. His legs are really short. His upper thighs use the Metru length thighs, while his upper arms use the Vizrak length bones, even though they're the new piece, which makes his legs really stumpy compared to his arms. And then the added length of the long wrist on the Glatorian hand make him have really weird gangly proportions. He's not even doing something like Poatu Fantoka, where, there's some sort of reason why that is. It just... Well, I know why they did it. For whatever reason, they were married to using this part here. And essentially, if they had used the long version of the bones, this leg would have been so skinny and bare, because it only hugs the top of this piece. I don't know why they would be married to using this piece. I have no idea. And not only that, but because of that, he has like mixel balls behind his ass. He just have these grey balls back there. And I know why they did it. It's because if you used a standard axle, it may be hard to pull it out. So using this piece makes it easy for kids to deconstruct the set, which I guess makes sense from a, you know, making this thing a better building toy. But it's just weird. Like, he just has weird grey testicles behind his ass. Okay. I kind of like the color layering on this guy. I think it looks cool. The again recolored UNAMBIGUOUS legs and keytones are nice. The bell bottom add-ons look cool. They work better with the other UNAMBIGUOUS foot that Akar has, so they definitely look better on him. But I do kind of like it. If we are going for like he's just a dude, he does look like a tribal man. So, I don't know, it's like his toes are poking out from the bottom of his baggy trousers. The shield pieces are pretty cool. I really like this piece. Effectiveness as a shield, I don't know about that, but Bionicle shields have largely been decorative. Hardly any of them are very good shields. I also like the use of those pieces on his arms. They are very neat. I also like the Igniter design they used. It looks more humanoid. I actually think Bionicle masks, by the time we were in 2008, were starting to get very long and distorted looking. And the Igniter is very cool as a standalone piece, but as a character face, it starts looking weird and distorted and long. And I don't think Tora Igniter looked very good. I think Madanui having this redesigned helmet version of this head is actually better. It's tiny. Mainly, again, Kanohi was starting to get very big by 2008, and actually, even the 2002 Toa Nuva had very big heads due to their Kanohi, so the Bionicle aesthetic lends itself to the giant heads, so 2009 was a bit of a departure for that, and I actually like the Igniter in this form. I don't know if I prefer it, but it suits the humanoid proportions right. Unfortunately, the rest of his proportions look goofy, but he carries an interesting vibe to him. I can't say I dislike this set, but there's just a lot going on that's weird, and kind of janky with him, and I feel like there's a lot of misses with him, and weird decisions that it felt like they didn't need to make that hurt the set, the way the body's built. The insistence in the use of these pieces up here, which... why? It's just odd. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Madanui. So I've sort of spoilt who's going to go in number one. But I need to decide. Why am I going ahead and making a ranking if I can't be bothered to actually pick who goes next? You know what, I'm just gotta, I guess, bite the bullet here. Now, mind you, I'm not super strong about this being in fourth place, but I'm gonna put Akar in fourth place. Complete laziness of build. The fact that he's basically a reskinned Harley Inika 9 waves later is actually pretty heinous, and it's like, what are we doing here? On face value, though, he may be cooler than these two, just visually. Again, he's carried by leftover Tahu aura, essentially. That set gets shot a lot of bail from a lot of people because he is just a Tahu stand-in, and it's kind of undeserved. Next, I'm gonna go Madanui. Madanui has too many kind of functional things wrong with this set that hold him back. He's just very janky, and he's hindered by weird build decisions. And also, again, it doesn't feel like this set warrants the story significance this character really deserves. Again, they couldn't spring for gold for him. They couldn't, even if he was like fully black with just gold highlights or something, I don't know. Like, it feels cheap to just make him a generic Keat Orange set. And the fact that he just looks a bit goofy in too many ways, it's like, it doesn't... And this was our... Finally, we see Madanui, this being that we've known from the beginning. It's a very underwhelming set, given that. And I guess that puts Kina at number 2. And this is why I didn't feel strongly about these three. Putting Kina as number 2 kind of doesn't feel right. The set's, in my opinion, is not that great. Again, I feel like I get more visual interest from Madanui and Akar than I do Kina. But Kina doesn't have actually necessarily anything wrong with her design. Kina is sort of hurt by LEGO's practices per se. Because, you know, whoever designed Kina wasn't deciding, I need this piece in grey. LEGO had clearly color locked that piece at this point, for whatever reason. And the same with the axles. At no point I'm sure that set designer said, she needs 2 red axles here. But yeah, Kina, it just functionally doesn't have anything wrong. There's not, like, she's trying to do something new. You got a custom torso here. Her weapons are cool. There's like nothing that's screaming like there's something wrong with this set. It's just, I don't care about the design that much. But there's other things wrong with these two, I guess, that I feel like should put them under Kina. Again, it doesn't feel right. Can I just cheat and kind of put these 3 as in like 3 different types of mid? No, I just got to commit, right? Like, so again, I'm not going to die on this hill. You disagree with this one? Yeah, go for it. Like, this doesn't feel right to me. But it's like, I don't know. My number 1 is Stronius. I like Stronius. I think of all of these sets, Stronius is the only one where I'm like, I really like Stronius. This one is actually cool. Go away, Madanui. Actually, while we're here, yeah, you can kind of see that big gap here and how stupid it looks. And just the feet, yeah. Go away, Madanui. Go away, Onua. Stronius. Stronius doesn't do anything to really innovate that much either, but guess what? It's a new body piece for the Anika build. What a concept. A new body armor. Wow. Yeah. And I really like that piece. It has multiple connection points. It feels like Karapar's body armor. It's like, if you're going to keep reusing this build, at least pour some budget into something that's usable. The fact we get 3 of them in one set is great. Again, it's versatile as shoulder and body armor. It's got a lot of textures that are unique to this set, but aren't out of place in system. With other Bionicle pieces, it interacts very well. The fact that, you know, it doesn't have the same connection points as Karapar or the Karapar body armor or some of the other Anika means, you know, you can use it differently. The fact that he's dark red and black is cool. I think this particular color layering is not something that we'd seen before. Antros had this color scheme as well, so did Kalmar, but they weren't layered in this way. It's nice to have a primarily black set with dark red, and it's kind of brightened up in this picture. Mind you, this is not a very good picture of this set. I don't think this does this helmet justice. It's very muted, and it feels like closest you get to an all-black set. He has a grey Anika body for some reason. Gorast had this as well. I don't know what it is with them just inserting random grey body parts. Like, did they have a surplus of that piece? I don't know. It's completely out of place in the set. But luckily, because of how heavily it's armoured, you don't really see it that much from most angles. So it's actually well hidden. The fact he doesn't have armoured upper arms is okay, mainly because of how heavy these shoulders are. It allows them to be very posable without him feeling too bare. Like, to be honest, I was trying to find good pictures of Stronius. There aren't, like, the set looks far better in person than in most of the CG renderings of him. This picture does make his helmet look cooler. He's another black set with a mohawk, following Naparu in Nika, and Onua Mystica. Maybe it skips a wave. So we had the... No, I'm chatting shit. But, like, follows the lineage of the black set with the mohawk. He looks really cool. And he uses the long neck, but it's because his head is so long and it's kind of buried in there. He has a bigger head as well, which kind of, you know, some of the Glatorian a bit of like they're kind of pea brains. I like his clubbed weapon. I like the fact that it isn't just one giant piece; it splits into 2. Again, it's not something we've really ever got in Bionicle to this point. So it was cool to get something unique weapon-wise there, especially through its construction. I don't think there's another tool that's built that same way. He uses the Knights Kingdom mace halves in a way that I think suits him far more than it did on Hukimari. You know, he's spiky throughout with a similar sort of texture. It matches his color scheme. If it's much better used here than on Huki. He's not really a Skrull. I know he's like Special Forces Skrull, but come on. We've seen like the through line between the Rock Tribe, Tuma, the Skrull. Like, this guy being a Skrull is kind of a stretch, but whatever. I don't necessarily care about that per se. Yeah, there's not too much to say. He's just my favorite. He just looks cool. He has mini-me syndrome, I guess. Whenever they wanted to do stock characters, after 2006, they gave them the short legs and the short bones, so he's very small in comparison. But it works, you know. He's just very compact and stocky. I guess the Thornax launcher, it looks like a separate weapon, you know. I don't think it really messes with the set. It doesn't necessarily fit with anything else, but I think it's not distracting, and that's, I think, the nice thing about this launcher. It's not so commanding or huge or unwieldy like the Midex Sky Blaster or the Kordak Blaster. It's very small. It very much feels like a sidearm. You can ignore it. But yeah, that's my list. Even with him, there's not really that much to say. I hope I've sort of illustrated why at this point these sets are very, like, ugh, at this point. Like, getting an Anika build the year after or 2 years after is annoying, but, you know, it's whatever. It's more forgiving earlier on. When you're, to reiterate again, 9 waves in, and you are getting sets like Gelu and Akar that do nothing beyond being the most boring-ass Anika builds ever, it gets to a point where, okay, we can't even be like, oh, they're just reusing parts in the system. It's like, they're not even reusing the new parts. You have Carapa's armor to use. You have Vampra uses Takadox. You have Takadox's armor to use. You have Gali Mystica's armor to use. You have so many parts that you could be using. You have the Onua pardon me, the Onua Mystica armor to use, maybe in combination with a different piece of the Metru chest. You have builds like Vizon, where he has extra parts on the Paraka torso. Like, there's so much more you could be doing, and the Glatorian Wave 1 really demonstrated that, you know, there are ways to innovate on this build. So getting these guys so late in the game, even though they look cool on the surface, I think at this point we're just like, ugh, I'm just sick of them. And I mean, at least they look good. Vastus just looks bad. Like, he's trying to do something different and just sort of failing at it. At least Kina, you know, she was doing something new. Maranui was sort of playing with some of those newer body parts. I just don't think it really comes together very well. It just, with some adjustments, this set could be much better. It just feels like a lot of missed opportunities and just maybe weird decisions. Stronius being the best, he's not even that interesting. He just is simple but cool and gives us new stuff. Again, his build isn't innovative, but the fact that we've got new complements to this quote-unquote building system is enough for me to be like, okay, this guy's the best. And again, his weapon is really cool. He just looks overall pretty great. Yeah, I think that's my list. I'm going to wrap it up here. I think I don't have too much to say. I think maybe I will actually perhaps do a video on 2009. I have plenty of nuanced thoughts about 2009 that I could probably go into length about. Yeah, I won't waste more time here. I'm sure I'll make some more of these. I think a lot of people do like 2009 as well. I'm sure I'm going to get some angry comments about this list here. But it's all fun and games. I like seeing how drastic the opinions are in the comments. And just sometimes it catches me off guard. Like Pride Act, for example. It's crazy to me that people love that set. These guys, I'm not sure people have the love for these guys, but we'll see. Okay, let me call it here before I talk forever. Glatorian Legends, that's my ranking. Again, that midsection 2 to 4, I'm not really set on, so I'm not. If you think I'm wrong on those, yeah, I probably think I'm wrong on those too. But yeah, that's my list. More videos coming soon. Ununboxed Pals is very close to being out. Have a great day. Bye.